dive deep into pressing political, socio-economic, and even human angle issues, the way it affects our society today. I'm your host, Sage Babalola, and I am thrilled, as always, to have you join us for an engaging and insightful conversation here on Mainland 98.3 FM. Our Situation Room is Mondays through to Fridays from 4 p.m. all the way to 5:30 p.m. and it usually involves expert interviews, feedback session, which presents you, the listener, an opportunity to opine on the matters that we have raised on radio. And today's not going to be any different, because the kind of conversations that we offer to you, they keep getting better and better. We keep getting expert insight, opening our minds, giving us an opportunity to broaden our scope, opening us up to provisions of the law, what is right, what is considered to be wrong, and how to correct all the many ills in society. And the best way to start addressing an issue, I believe, is by means of sensitization, by means of dialogue, by means of conversation, allowing for diverse opinion, allowing for conversations, basically dissenting voices, also encouraging dissenting voices, so that you're able to get the full picture and form an opinion that is based on the foundation of fact. And so we encourage the proliferation of fact, which is why we have the Situation Room, and basically we address issues as they are happening in our polity. Well, today we're shining the spotlight on a topic that lies at the intersection of freedom of expression and the right to protect one's reputation. I know some of you already have an idea of what we want to talk about, but basically, for those of you who have not caught on to what I'm gone into, we're talking about the position of the law on defamation and libel in Nigeria. We live in a world that increasingly thrives on communication, and so the balance between sharing opinions and safeguarding an individual's dignity has never been more critical, especially now that social media, for example, is a platform that allows for any Tom, Dick, and Harry to share a perspective. We have platforms that do not even give space for verification of facts. One person shares it, 1,000 people have seen it, and it becomes something of an opinion that a lot of people translate into fact. Has anybody checked? Absolutely not. People share that information because a random person on social media thought to share it. So how do we ensure that we're not crossing over, or we're not cleaning off the line that is between freedom of expression and also respecting people's dignity? And now, in the aspect of defamation and libel, we want to talk about what does the Nigeria legal landscape say about these issues? How do different legal principles protect individuals whilst also considering the essential value of freedom of speech? So in today's episode, we're going to explore the nuances of defamation law in Nigeria. We will delve into key elements, for example, as the definition, the difference between public and private figures, available defenses. We'll talk about the implication of social media on defamation cases. We'll also discuss maybe even historical context of these laws, notable cases as well that has shaped our understanding and how they impact journalists, for example, has been one of them. Content creators nowadays, especially with the Cybercrime Act, and just basically the everyday citizen alike. So stay tuned as we engage with a legal professional and expert in the field who would answer all the questions that I have, and ultimately all the questions that you might have, as we try to make sense or try to understand the position of our legal system when it comes to cases of defamation and libel. As for the expert that was promised to you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid is a legal practitioner, he's a consultant, he's a notary public, and he's a public affairs analyst. And he joins us this evening to discuss the position of the law in the cases of defamation and libel. Don't forget that we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. This allows for multiple people, regardless of what part of the country or what part of the world you might be in, to contribute and join the conversation. So it doesn't really matter where you are. Geographical barriers have been broken thanks to social media. So you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM. Drop your submission using the live chat option, and when it's time for feedback, we will refer back to those messages. Once again, welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM. It's the Situation Room. I'm Sage Babalola. The conversation is around the position of the law on defamation and libel. And like I said, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid joins us for this session. Barrister Tunji, good evening. Thank you for joining us as always.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Yes. So let's start like this. In 2015, the now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sued a media house for airing a documentary that he believed to be defamatory, although he consequently withdrew the 150 billion naira libel suit after the media house apologized. We have the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, for example, Nnamdi Kanu. He did sue the Attorney General of the Federation at that time, Abubakar Malami, over an alleged defamatory publication. He says that the AGF allegedly defamed him after he claimed that the IPOB leader Kanu jumped bail and even asked for 20 billion in damages. And I'm starting like this by citing instances where cases of libel and defamation has come up, because it seems the most recent case is the one that opened people's mind to this conversation. But I'm trying to draw our mind back to the many instances where these things have come up. So on that note, Barrister Tunji, talk to us. If we're even going to put a definition to these terminologies, defamation and libel, how would you explain it to the layman?
Well, let me first of all say that the defamation, libel is not a branch of defamation. So in other words, libel is defamation. It's not it's on its own. Libel is not on its own.
Right.
Libel is a branch of defamation. Defamation is we have two types of defamation. You have libel, you have slander. So when you say libel, you're talking about defamation. When you say slander, you're talking about defamation. Defamation is that statement that you made, that information that you do, that information that you publish, that another person sees as targeting his image or sees as hatred against his person. That's what we call defamation. In other words, if you make statements, if you give information, if you publish a book or everything, or if you say it orally to the third party, or to the entire world or to the community, that is what we call defamation. In other words, simple. Layman, something that you say that somebody else believes that it carries its aim and carries its reputation or occupation or possession. That is defamation. So it can either be libel or slander. If that thing, if you do it to writing, or if you do it to a book, or publication or whatever, it's libel. But when it's made orally, it is called slander. That is the difference between the two. So libel is part of defamation. So libel is not on its own. It's a branch or a type of defamation.
All right. So libel, slander, the umbrella term is defamation. In the case of libel, it's a publication is written, but for slander, it is statements that have been made. Right. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for the clarification. So, Barrister Tunji, let's also establish the key element of a statement that makes it libelous or that makes it considered to be slander. For example, some people would argue that just because you consider a statement to be tarnishing your image, it does not necessarily mean that it is defamatory. Just because I said something and you find it offensive doesn't mean it's defamatory. So in analyzing a statement or a publication, what are some of the key elements that ultimately makes such a statement to be defamatory?
That statement or information must be false.
Okay.
That is one of the major
factor to consider.
Yes, consideration for you to see there is defamation. It must be aimed at creating at targeting the image of that other person. In other words, it must be made with the intention of bringing that person to the surface. Either it's personal as a person or is a profession. So those are the major things. The information must be false. Then, like you said, before that you say, I say something and you say, I defend you. It does not mean you are correct. That is why we have first. You have to go to court it's very report that can establish whether or not